You got it, sir? You got the screen?
Yeah.
1 minute. 1 minute. Good evening, friends. Oh, 1 minute, 1 minute. 1 minute. Good evening, friends, and I thank Sushil Kumar Jain sir for giving me this opportunity to give this presentation with you. Actually, this discussion is about self-talk. The 24/7 chatter box, which is nothing but our thought only. I was pushed by Krishnaji for the last few years to observe myself, the inner working of my inner working mechanisms of myself. I am doing it for myself for quite some time. It is not that self-observation, that is not continuous mostly, but intermittent. This discussion is to share few things that I am able to see. So let me start this presentation. I have started the slideshow. So in between, I will talk in the discussion also. So self-talk, the screen is clear? Okay, before that, I want to ask some questions. Why do we identify ourselves with the self-talk, the self, the hero of its story? The self-talk is nothing but our thought only. Thought is talking. Who is the self? Why do we believe the self-talk as ours, our thoughts, and his story as real, and thereby allow the self-talk to dictate our lives forever? 1 minute, just the screen I will take you to some of the figures. 1 minute.
One sambar.
Okay. 1 minute, 1 minute. I will. Okay. See, there is a simulation hypothesis. What is simulation hypothesis? Actually, for the self-talk, before I begin, we have to understand certain basic things, some small things, just an introduction, and many of you are already familiar with that. What is the simulation hypothesis? The simulation hypothesis proposes that what sentient beings experience as a world is actually a simulated reality, such as a computer simulation in which the human themselves are constructs. What is simulation? Simulation is assume the appearance of one's contact, produce a fraudulent imitation, etc. So, simulation theory. What is simulation theory? The simulation hypothesis proposes that all of reality, including the earth and the universe, is in fact an artificial simulation created by an advanced civilization, that alliance. If advanced civilizations are capable of creating complex simulations inhabited by simulated conscious entities, then there is significant chance that we exist within one such simulation. See, Nick Bostrom is a professor of philosophy in the Oxford University. Next, reality and simulated reality. What is reality? Reality is a sum or aggregate of all that is real or existent within the universe, as opposed to that which is only imaginary, non-existent, or non-actual. In physical terms, reality is the totality of a system, known and unknown. What is simulated reality? A simulated reality is an approximation of reality created in a simulation, usually in a set of circumstances in which something is engineered to appear real when it is not. Simulation theory. Just I am connecting few dots here and there and present it to you. First is Plato's cave. This allegory of Plato's cave, many of us maybe heard about it. and then some drama, theater, then motion picture, movie. Then comes with the advent of modern technologies, then came 3D movies. Then that leads to PC games, video games, and VR games. VR games means virtual reality games. What is virtual reality? What is VR headsets, avatars, etc.? That I am giving some brief introduction so that we can go to our main question. That is basic question that I showed you there. So this is Plato's cave, that allegory. See, prisoners are chained in a dark cave for their lives. What is a Plato's cave? In the allegory, Plato describes people who have spent their lives chained in a cave facing a blank wall. They watch shadows projected onto the wall by objects passing in front of a fire behind them, and they give names to these shadows. The shadows are the prisoner's reality, but not accurate representation of the real world. The shadows represent the fragment of reality we can perceive through our senses. This is also very interesting that the dark cave, that our brain is also in a dark cave. So that is also, it is whether Plato is comparing the prisoners chained in the dark cave, or is it's an allegory actually. Allegory means even that our brain in a dark cave also, it may be applied to it also. This is Plato's cave. Next is, there is a butterfly dream. Once is a Japanese poet, is Jangcho, I think that I don't know the correct pronunciation, dreamed he was a butterfly. A butterfly flitting and fluttering about, happy with himself. Sorry. Oh, the old screen has come in between. 1 minute. Only sorry. So suddenly he woke up, and there he was, solid and unmistakable Zhangzhou. But he did not know if he was Zhangzhou who had dreamt he was a butterfly, or a butterfly dreaming that he was Zhangzhou. Whether he is dreaming as a butterfly, or the butterfly is dreaming that he was this person. Am I a man dreaming as a butterfly? Am I a butterfly dreaming as a man? Next come theater, drama. This Shakespeare, all the world's a stage, and all the men and women merely players. They have their exits and entrances, and one man in his time plays many parts, his acts being 7 ages. All the world's a stage. Then the theater, different forms of theaters evolved after that. Immersive theater, interactive theater. Immersive theater differentiates itself from traditional theater by removing the stage and immersing audiences within the performance itself. Often this is accomplished by using a specific location, allowing audiences to converse with the actors and interact with their surroundings, thereby breaking. This is a immersive theater. The theater, how it evolved with a new technology, how it evolved later. Then comes motion picture, movie. Sorry. So, wait. Okay. Our experience of life is like a watching movie projected by the mind. Everyone is different. None of them are real. This is a book titled The Four Agreements by the author Don Miguel Ruiz. Even many yogis like Parahamsa Yogananda, in their when he lived in Los Angeles, after seeing some World War II documentary as a newsreel, he also commented, our life is also like a motion picture. So the movies then evolved into, when the technology improves and the exponential growth of computer memory power and all these things, then came movies developed into 3D movies. So with the special goggle, we can view the picture as if we can just feel it. This is Avatar, the movie. Some of us might have taken it, might have seen it. Then comes PC games. What is PC games? That is computer games. Many of our kids are playing. Some of our seniors also playing. Now in the PC, now it has gone. It has come to our smartphone. So this is initially this was a PC game. It was like this. Now there are a lot of collections have come. PC games, video games, all these are some evolution with the advent of new technologies. Then what is virtual reality? Virtual, almost or nearly as described, but not completely or according to strict definition. Virtual reality. Virtual reality is a simulated experience that employs 3D near-eye displays and post tracking to give the user an immersive feel of a virtual world. Applications of virtual reality include entertainment, education, business. VR is one of the key technologies in the reality virtuality continuum. So this is virtual reality, very big screen, and a man is just standing on a platform, and when the projection starts, and he will just immerse in that scenario that is projected outside. So certain terms we should be familiar with that. That's why I'm giving you interview. I am taking you to certain things which many of you are already aware of that. So this presentation is actually for 30 minutes. I will stop after that. So what is virtual reality headsets? Complementing neural chips. The neural chips are being now implanted in the human body. The VR headsets and other sensory equipment play a crucial role in amplifying the sensations experienced. These devices are engineered to enhance visual, auditory, tactile, and even olfactory senses, creating a convincing illusion of reality that simulates movement, gravity, and even emotional responses such as pleasure and pain. Already, Elon Musk, that entrepreneur, he already started a company, Neuralink, and experimenting successfully with that. So these are some headsets I have shown that is gone away. Now this is a virtual VR headset. So a man is, so this is VR games. They are actually having some toy guns, and this is a multi-role playing video game. So this is VR game. This is another wearing that headset, VR headset, virtual reality headsets, as if they are in some alien world fighting with the aliens. And here, three persons are playing that VR game, multi-role playing game. Then avatars. See, this also we should know what is avatar. In a VR game, virtual reality game, what is avatar? Also referred as a virtual avatar, VR avatar, or digital avatar. An avatar is simply a 3D model that represents you in a computer-generated space, like that of a video game. In the video game, we can choose our character, that is avatar. And we can, whatever that, for the represent the character, that 3D model also, we can choose it. The three-dimensional quality of avatars is what sets them apart from other digital representations. You likely already have such as usernames and profile pics. Avatars are often, but not necessarily human-like in their appearances. Some avatar pictures. In the virtual reality game, we can choose where the one of the models, the 3D model, we can choose it. And this is a perceptually validated virtual avatar library for inclusion and diversity, Asians, Black, Hispanic, and other people. So there is a film in 1999, The Matrix, the science fiction film written and directed by the Wachowskis. It depicts a dystopian future in which humanity is unknowingly trapped inside the Matrix, a simulator reality that intelligent machines have created to distract humans while using their bodies as an energy source. When a computer programmer, Thomas Anderson, under the hacker alias Neo, uncovers the truth, he joins a rebellion against the machines along with other people who have been freed from the matrix. This movie is a good movie. Some of you might have seen it. So when I go through these two words in Sanskrit that just popped up in my mind, Maya. Maya appearance is the powerful force that creates the cosmic illusion that the phenomenal world is real. The phenomenal world is real. That is a cosmic illusion that the Maya creates. This is as per Advaita Vedanta philosophy. And Leela. Leela is a play, divine play, a game. So Maya Leela, that's a virtual reality video game. I interrupt like this. As per the simulation theory, our physical world is a computer simulation by some advanced civilization alliance. Here, our inquiry in this present discussion is mainly about the other realm. Is our inner world, the psychological world, simulated by our mind, which is thought. After having some idea about the simulation theory, virtual reality, and headsets, let us now go into this question. What is the question? The self-talk. So this is the discussion. Before coming to this, I just refresh our memory with some terms, technical terms. Unless we appreciate the virtual reality, simulation, etc., then understanding this self-talk, my discussion will be a little difficult. That's why I took you to those things. Self-talk. Who is talking? Who is listening? Is it a monologue or a dialogue? You see, in the dialogue is self-talk is going on in first person or second person or third person. In this chatterbox, is this chatterbox so louder as others also be able to eavesdrop sometimes? I wonder. What are the contents of this self-talk? From where does a self-talk get these contents, materials? These are all the questions that come up my mind. Do we wear any headsets to listen? Just like in the VR game, we wear that VR headsets. So do we wear in the self-talk also? Are we wearing any headsets to listen to it? Few questions. Are we living in an inner world, in a simulation like a VR game with our headsets on, the VR headsets on? See, we know headphone is just hear something. We are using headphone on a mobile phone and with the mic also. So headset is advanced version, or it will have more features. That is headset. And VR headset is latest modern technology to play video games or watch some movies, 3D movies, etc. So what is the avatar we have chosen to play this game? So I told you about the avatar. What is the avatar? Avatar means the character, 3D model. We have to choose to play the game. So in the inner world also, what is the avatar we have chosen to play in this game, that VR game, in a simulated VR game in our inner world? The I, me, Harish, Habib, John, Priyanka, Vinod, Victor. What is the avatar we have chosen? What is our headset we are wearing? Is it the self-talk, the thought, with numerous channels and frequencies? I see the self-talk is the thought only. That itself I see like a VR headset. That itself is a headset we are wearing it. Why do we identify ourselves with the self-talk? Why we have to identify with the self-talk, which is nothing but the thought. That is the headset we are wearing. Why we have to identify ourselves with the self, the avatar. Avatar is a character we chose in a video game. So here also in the self-talk, also we take some avatar. Do we take some avatar? The self is avatar. That is a simulated entity. The hero of its story, the self-talk is telling. Why do we believe the self-talk as our talks and its story as real, and thereby allow the self-talk to dictate our lives forever? This is a basic question, a fundamental question based on which this dialogue I want to present to you. Why do we believe the self-talk as our talks? And the story, is it real? What the self-talk is interpreting with little knowledge about others, about these things, whether it's a real, whether it interprets a reality, what the self-talk interprets the reality is true or false or fact. Is the self-talk, if the self-talk is not ours, then whose talk it is? Who is it talking? Who is this? From where does it get its contents? The self-talk, from where it gets its contents, feed, essence, source, or energy? From our own experience? From the information? With the information we gather? What from the newspaper, social media, where the self-talk gets the contents, the feed, the source, or the energy? If the self-talk is not ours, then whose talk it is? Let me repeat the question again. Who is it? From where does it get its contents? Next question. Does the self-talk is nothing but the thought, which is a headset. VR headset, just as a VR headset, we are wearing it all the time. That creates a self. That is a simulated entity. It's not real. And the self-talk to itself, the I, me, that is avatar, that is a character. I compare this I, me as to the avatar, the character we choose in the VR game. It's a simulation. I, me itself is just a simulation. It's a narration. The self-talk gives the narration, the story we hear from the self-talk. As thought interprets the reality. The reality is the world around us, the relationship, the person, something. What is happening is reality. But the thought, the headset, the self-talk interprets the reality. Whether that narration, the story, that interpretation is real, fake, or illusion, or just a simulation. Is the narration, the story we hear from the self-talk as thought interprets the reality, real or fake or illusion or simulation. How does consciousness, its contents of others, kith and kin, violent mob, restless crowd in a queue, orderly pilgrimage, neighborhood, locality, region, civilization, race, country, global, social media, news and fake news, gossips, rumors, panics, etc. In short, of humanity, the consciousness of humanity, how does it become our conditioning, take over our consciousness and feed the source to our self-talk, that is our virtual dictator? How does consciousness, its contents of others, consciousness of humanity become our conditioning, take over our consciousness and feed the source to our self-talk, our virtual dictator? So this becomes, so where does the self-talk get its contents? I asked you the question previously, and here it seems to be where does it get? Only from our interaction in the relationship, in the society we live, in the news we hear, whether it is a news or fake news, our own experience and the experience of others. So that becomes the content of our self-talk. And we believe that self-talk as ours. Is it truly the ours? That's a question. Okay, same question. I'm just projecting it again. See, last month, myself and wife, we went for Kashmir for 10 days trekking, Great Lakes. Actually, we were in our camp, nearly some 600, 700 people were there. Actually, this photo is not our group. Actually, we crossed to the same place, but that photo is not our group photo. It is some other group's photo. See, I found is amazing. The crowd consciousness, that is totally different in such a serene and a quiet environment in the Himalayas. There were only love and empathy was there, compassion was there, nothing else is there. No rat race, no selfishness. I want to go first, you go later. Everybody was sharing whatever they were having. Even when water came, some places water was not available, even with a little drop of water, they shared with other people. Why? Is that our true nature, the love and compassion? Why people are not selfish in such an environment? I wonder actually this question is just lingering in my mind for last 1 month. Strangers helped me. Myself and wife are the most seniors in the trekking group. Many strangers, they helped us. They showed a lot of love and affection. So we were able to complete this trekking only because of their love and compassion only. So this love and compassion, this feeling was worn out for after some time. When we returned to the airport, this is not Srinagar airport, but when we returned to the Srinagar airport, the same people who joined the trekking, the same truckers, they behaved in a totally different way. This is crowd consciousness. I want to go first. I won't share. So the selfishness all has come back again. How is it happening? The previous photo in the trekking in the Himalayas, in the Kashmir, Great Lakes trekking, people are very different. So here you see the people. Violent mob. Orderly Hajj pilgrims. Puri Jagannath Yatra, very orderly, very pious, very quiet, calm. How this is happening? Why we are? This question is lingering in mind. Just I want to share it. The same question: how the consciousness is contents become our own. So finally, the last question: are we all interconnected with one another by a huge network of consciousness, like thousands of water bodies into oceans? Are we all interconnected with one another by a huge network of consciousness? Like thousands of water bodies are interconnected to each other, finally became an ocean. We identify the ocean as Pacific Ocean, Bay of Bengal, like that. We only give the names, but it is just oceans. That is what Krishnaji was referring, stepping out of the stream. When we are going to step out of the stream, that is all. Thank you. See, these answers, the questions I'm asking, the answers, no one can, for that virtual reality and stimulation theory, etc. We can ask others, search the Wikipedia or Google, read books and find answers. But these questions I have been asking, nobody can give answers. That answers if that answers is of no use, we will believe them to be true out of our reverence or anything of someone, and that's not going to help us. So one has to stay with these questions and not trying to find out the answers. Who is trying to find out the answers? Again, the thought. Thought cannot find answers for this. So when the thought sees the futility of looking for the answers, it becomes silence. Maybe in the silence, we may get some answers. Thank you, everyone. Thank you.
Harshad sir.
Yeah. Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. Thank you, Rajendran ji. Very, very interesting. But I feel that you have made it more complicated. A simple thing more complicated, because where Krishna ji said that if you want to really understand anything of this psychological nature, you have to go inside you. To go very far, you have to start from very near. And the near is your own self. And something is happening within our mind all the time. So when we become curious, then we can really watch and without asking many questions. I don't ask so many questions like Krishna ji asked or Rajendran ji asked many questions. And there is nothing to understand, only to see whatever is happening. But what happens that we get identified with this self-talk and think that that is what we really are. But there is another dimension within us which can see clearly how these thoughts and feelings are coming. And it is coming from the past knowledge, experiences, and all that. And so if you don't do anything with what is coming, thoughts and feelings, and just observe, then it goes away and it doesn't create a problem. So it is like a watching a film going on within us. People are generally, they find it very interesting to watch the films which is made by other people, scientific fiction and detective story and violence and war and all these films people enjoy watching. But there is a film going on within us. And when we get interested in watching this film, then there's a direct learning about not only about ourselves, but about all humanity, how the mind of humanity works, how these thoughts are arising. And we cannot see the source from where these thoughts are coming, because it may be coming due to certain chemical, electrical activities in the brain. But when this thought takes form in the form of words and language, and then we can see it. And if we don't do anything with it and just observe from the dimension of awareness, not thinking again, because what the mistake many people make is that they are getting identified with what they see. And that makes you get trapped into this web of thinking. And then you lose the sense of real reality. Like there was the one lady, she was traveling in a train in England, and she was talking loudly, but she was not talking to anybody. And she was not aware that the person with whom she was talking was not there in the train, but it was coming from her own mind, some image, and then she thought that that image was the real. And all other people who were sitting in the train, they thought that this lady is mad because she is talking so loudly. And there was one person, I think Eckhart Tolle, he was in the train, and when he came out from the train and he went to the bathroom, toilet, and then he felt that he was not different than this lady because his mind was also chattering. And the only thing is that that chattering was not coming out from his mouth in the word of sound language, but it was going on. So that insight that this chattering is going on and that can be seen, it is not the real thing, but it is coming from the experiences and the language and many conditioning. And we don't do anything, just watch that choiceless awareness, what Krishna ji says, these thoughts come and go away. And then there may be another thought. Then in between there may be a gap in which nothing happens. So all this goes on, and I think it is a source of learning about ourselves and about humanity. If we are really interested, very curious to look at our own mind in action and not go into virtual reality and 3D and Plato's cave and all that, that is knowledge which we have piled up. But there is a direct way, and that is not through knowledge acquired by human beings, but by what is happening actually within our own mind and watching it. And that, but that can happen only when there is this awareness, intelligence. When it is awakened, then it becomes very interesting. But when it is not awakened, this intelligence or awareness, then we go round and round and create more and more problems. And out of simple thing, we can make everything very complicated. So I will say that our real problem is that we are not interested in understanding our own mind by direct looking within from a source which is not thinking and feeling, but it is a different dimension called choiceless awareness or intelligence. Okay, I have finished. Thank you.
Anybody else? Dinesh Waghmare.
Are you able to hear my voice?
Yes.
Very interesting, Rajendran sir. So, see, this is a very lengthy talk there should be on this. First of all, there are so many questions. And you see, all the questions are coming from the intellectual plane. And most of the questions which are addressed by the scientific people. So first of all, as JK said, first we have to see whether we are related to it or not. Okay, simple curiosity is okay. But are we related to it? Are we scientists? If at all, you will understand a video game, how it is been made. It is very difficult to understand. how the virtual reality games are made, how the Matrix picture was made. I've seen that movie also. How that they can say new in modern technology. They say that VFX or VHF, some technology is there which they use for this trick scenes and all that. So it is very difficult to understand actual science or how it is made, because that is not our field. You have to understand this thing. We are not hackers, or we are not computer experts, or we are not uh, experts in this field particularly. So first of all, how we are related to it, number one. Number two, can thought always can thought give answers to this? As far as we are concerned, thought can never give. As you yourself said, thought can never give answer to this, because what is thought? Thought is just the recording of the actual reality, right? Now you are questioning that reality by using thought. So thought can never answer this. Do what may, or you can do anything, but you cannot get the answer for this. So basically, these are the wrong questions. Wrong questions means questions themselves are not wrong, but the tool which you are using, that is wrong. This intellect can never, you are using the tool of intellect, and that can never give you the answer to this. So what is left now? The thing which is left, as Harshad sir pointed out, there is another dimension. So that dimensions, if you access, then you can get answers for most of your questions. Most of your question means answers will not be given, but you will get what we can say touch of that reality, and you can understand what is behind this. So you have to go to that level in yourself and find out whatever questions you are asking, what is behind this, what is behind this, what is behind this, and is it real or it is false or whatever it is. So you have to go behind it, and you will get answer from your inside only. Say we take the example of hunger, or we take the example of thirst. Who gives us the answer that you are hungry or you are thirsty now? Who gives the answer? You get the answer from your inner self only. So similarly, at the present, it is related to only your body or your physical organs only. But if you go deep, then you will touch the dimensions which is even controlling your mind. Controlling mind means it has got a game, as you say yourself said, the Leela. So who is creating this Leela? What is the game going on? Is it a game or is it actuality? So there, if you go that deep, then that energy or whatever it is you call it, that dimension will itself will give you answer from your inner side only. And as you said, there are so many individualities. Everybody has got different experiences. Everybody has got different curiosities. So when scientists work, they are of that same field, and they have got their conditioning accordingly. They first know what is the Newton's law, then they know what is the your E is equal to mc square of Einstein. Then they further go, what is the problem with the Einstein theory and all that. Then they come out with the Einstein theory 1, Einstein theory 2, and then they go again Niels Bohr's theory and all that. So it is their field. It is not our field. What is expected of us is to go inside and have access to that dimension. Now, how you can get access to that? By reducing the thoughts, because you have to bypass your intellect. And when you because it is creating unnecessary disturbance. So to bypass the intellect, you have to reduce your thoughts. How can you reduce? Superficially, you have to first think how I am related, and whatever thoughts you can set all of these your thoughts aside. because that are not those are futile, because they cannot give any answer to these questions. You may be having curiosity about these questions, but they cannot give answer. So you keep them all aside and go to your inner plane, or go your inside, and then you will find in silence there will be a dimension which can probably give the answers. So you have to step by step you have to go, and whatever the JK has said, right thinking, first you have to go to the right thinking. Whatever thinking I am doing, is it right? Right thinking means, is it related to you? Is it it is your portfolio, or whose portfolio it is? So from where the questions are coming, and why these questions are coming to you? So that also you have to question, and then you have to see, and as soon as you will in contact with that dimension will give you the answers from your inside only. Either answers will be given to you, or there will be no questions. There are two possibilities here also. Either there will be no questions, negation, total negation of the questions, or there will be all answers given to you. And this will also told to you that you are not related to this, but these are the answers. Say for example, matrix picture has been made based on our Yoga Vasishtha. Whatever they have said there, there are world within worlds. In Yoga Vasishtha they said that there are world within worlds, and you have to have that sanskar. Sanskar means you have to have that traits or parameters to see that reality. If that reality, say for example, some insects, they are having they see the limited dimensions. So for them, this thing world is of 2 colors only, or 3 colors only, whereas you can see 7 colors. So this all can be one can see the reality. There can be scientists have already told that there are many colors, but you can see only in your band 7 colors. So you can see the reality as per your inner traits available to you, or the whatever the tools given to you, or senses given to you, and the limitation of senses can only give you the world reality picture of that reality, or you can see that reality only. So these are the things. So you have to go for the solution, you have to go inside. That is the only thing. Thank you.
Prasad sir.
Namaste, sir. Rajendran Sahab has given a very scholarly talk, very learned. And for me, of course, it is more like I am not familiar with, I have no science background. And as such, I am not really familiar with all those things which he talked about. But even those who have no science background, I think have a can have some access to Krishna ji, because Krishna ji himself is not a scientist, and what he has said is not entirely connected to scientists or anything like that. So, as a Hindu, we are all familiar with some of these concepts like Maya and divine play and all that, Leela. Maya, Leela and all these things. We are generally familiar with those concepts. And similarly, these concepts like avatar, which Rajendran Sahab has mentioned, for me, it is also like this thing like, Leela or Maya and all those things. It is like Shakespeare said, life is like a stage. The world is like a stage, and we are all like actors. So Avatar is also like an actor for me. So these concepts we are generally familiar. But then what is this a self? We don't have to go to scientists to understand self. Self is our own thought, feeling, action from the center of ourselves. That is what we understand by self. And it is, of course, an undeniable fact that our minds are chattering. And the chattering is endless. It goes on. It is like it goes on non-stop. And the best way is to observe that process. Any other, as a matter of knowledge, we can think of all these things like avatars and channels and all these things. But any concern with these things takes you away from the central thing. The central thing being your own thoughts. What is happening inside you this moment? That is the central point. And any distraction, any deviation from that is only a waste of energy. Because self-knowledge, Krishnaji said somewhere, the self-knowledge is not something constant. It is not an accumulated wealth, It is not knowledge. It is an observation, a direct, unprejudiced observation of what is happening inside you. So that is the central thing. And we are constantly chattering, mostly because we want to fill up the emptiness in ourselves. We have an emptiness in us, and we have that emptiness because we are concerned only with ourselves. We have a wall around ourselves. We do not have any sense of life's unity. Without that sense of unity, you are bound to feel that emptiness. And so, Rajendran ji has given that example of, camaraderie in that Himalayan walk. Yes, that is the common experience. If I go to Singapore, if I find a Telugu man, I feel very happy. But the same Telugu man, if he comes to Hyderabad, I don't bother about him because he's a rarity there in Singapore. In Hyderabad, he has no such uniqueness. So like that, when you go for a Himalayan trek, you feel a kind of camaraderie with others who are on the same trek. But when you reach the airport, there are lots of people. You have no common agenda with him, with the other guy. And so he is distant. And that is because it is environmental or temporary, that camaraderie. Whereas Krishnaji asks you to feel that camaraderie, that companionship, that affection, even when you are in a city like Bombay, and even when you are with strangers. that common humanity that is not restricted to some situation or a particular occasion like that. So ultimately, it is the observation, self-observation, because the self-talk, he has raised a question, does self-talk create the self or self create the self-talk? I think the answer is clear, even if it is not simple. That is, the talk is out of yourself. It is the self that keeps on talking. Otherwise, talking will be very limited for an occasion. It has some purpose, then only you talk. But otherwise, when you are driven by yourself, you keep on talking, whether there is any purpose served by it or not. That is how I feel, sir. That is how I approach it. Thank you, sir.
Rajendran sir. Rajendran sir, do you want to say something more?
No, just I want to say only 2-3 points. Number one, Arshad Saab, I told I complicated things. Yes, he is right. But I want people, see, there are two aspects. One is, as per the simulation theory, we are living in a simulation generated by computers, by alliance, advanced, who are far technology advanced by thousands of years. So that is a simulation theory. That is a 50-50 chance. It is very difficult to prove it also. So another aspect is, in our, that is a physical world. That is a physical world simulation theory. What about the psychological world? So I just put these two perspectives together. Only when we appreciate there is a possibility of these simulation theory, there is a possibility. Even many scientists have said there is a 50-50 chances are there. So it is very difficult to prove it or disprove it. So in the same way, I want to just opposition that to that inner world. Inner world also, it is whether our inner world is a simulation by the mind. That is important question. I want to present the two aspects. One is simulation theory of the physical world. Another is simulation theory of the inner world. I don't know. I am not a scientist. I don't know about the physical world. Let the scientists decide about it. But I can find out whether the inner world is a simulation by my mind. That's why I have to explain certain things. So it's not, I'm not making things complicated. I'm actually making everything simple for everybody to understand. That's why I just told the simulation theory, the possibilities. Still, there are people, very billionaire like Elon Musk, are still believing it. There is a 50-50 chances are there. There are different types of people are there. So I'm not going into that. I'm not a advocate for this simulation theory. That is a physical world. But I can see in my inner world, it is being hijacked by the mind. It is simulation by the mind, by thought, by the self-thought. The headset I am referring is the thought itself. The virtual VR headset. Why we have to wear that headset? Why we have to identify ourselves with the self-thought? Whether thought created the self or self created the thought. Thought only created the self. And that is the avatar. That is an illusion. That is a simulation. That is a mind simulation. That I want to highlight. That's all. Nothing else. Thank you.
Vimalji.
Yeah, I mean, basically, this was an age-old question. Basically, is this all real? Is there something higher than this? Is there a higher self that is doing all these things? The answers to these are in realization, and there doesn't seem to be a scientific way to prove that. If there was scientific way, it would have been proven by now that there is a higher self and lower self is a simulation of the higher self. But what I wanted to just say is that every single day at night we simulate our dreams. So what's happening there? Are they real or are they not real? Of course, they are not real. If you go into theosophy, then you will say that there are times when you may be astral traveling and you may actually be doing things. Now, unless you that is not simulation, that is reality. But the understanding that you have could be a simulation, need not be a reality. So our understanding of what the world is our simulation of what the world is. We don't know whether it is the truth. What is the truth? We are always searching towards the truth so that we don't live in a simulated world. That appears to be the aim of every single person, is not to live in a make-believe world. So this is what I think, but it's a very, very nice discussion. Thank you.
Harshad sir. Harshad sir.
Yeah. There was a film called The Beautiful Mind. It was about a professor who was doing some research, and he was doing everything was he lived in a kind of illusory world, but everybody knew that he was in illusion, but he himself felt that he was a very, very important person doing some extraordinary research, and some people were after him, and he was creating a lot of thoughts, illusion out of thinking. And at one time in this state of illusion, he did something very damaging to his own family. And the wife wanted to leave him because wife thought that this professor is living in illusion and he doesn't know. And then the professor was attached to his wife. And then while he's stopping his wife, the professor realizes that the people whom he is seeing, which he thinks real, the professor says they are not growing older with time. That means it must be illusion, And he comes to that insight. So as long as we don't have a real insight that the thought is creating the anger, fear, jealousy, loneliness, and to have that insight, one needs to step out from thinking process and coming to this awareness, which is not thinking. So that awareness, when it comes, it can see clearly. When there is a anger is arising, it can see the anger. And that seeing is the action which dissolves anger. So our problem is that these thoughts creating more and more problems. So sometimes I feel that this mind is like a spider, and it is weaving a web of thoughts, and it gets caught into its own web. But the real spider, when it makes a web, it doesn't get caught in its own web. So our mind, to realize that the mind is creating all these illusions, thoughts, fear, anger, jealousy, it means it can happen only when a person can come out from the plane of thinking and feeling. Then there are no questions, no intellectual questions. There are no answers. And if there are any questions, those questions can be seen. And if there's any answer comes, that can be seen. But everything is moving. So moving with what is, whatever is happening, without interpreting, without analyzing, just seeing it passing by like a river flowing by, then everything is fresh, new. So I think that is what Krishnaji is talking about. an awareness of seeing thoughts and feelings as they are from a different dimension. And that dimension is lacking, and that's why there are so many problems. People get carried away by their thoughts and they commit murder or suicide and all that problems. Okay, thank you.
Anybody else wants to say something? Prasad sir,
No,
do you
sir.
want to say something? Okay. 1 minute. Dinesh has raised his hand. I will try to unmute him.
I have not raised it, sir.
I would like to ask one question. Why are we getting such questions? And suppose if we get the answers of these questions, what will happen? Only intellectual plane will be satisfied. Only your intellect will be satisfied. But are you, will you be satisfied from inside? That is my question. So we have to check at what level these questions are arising. If it is only superficial questions, then fine. You can get answers from scientists and you can discuss with scientists and you can get the answers and you may be satisfied partially or most of the question answers you will get. But is it a question of satisfaction or just a question of getting answers? That we have to see. Satisfaction level is a different thing. Suppose I drink water, I get satisfaction. So if you want real satisfaction, then you have to get the answers from your inside only. No outside agency can give you the answer. Because there will be always a difference of opinion or difference of, we can say, views in between the two persons. As Prasadji said, I am not from the field of science. So his all total perception of the reality will be different. You may be having background from the science, and then your perception of reality will be different. So from where this difference is coming? Difference is coming from your talents, basic traits or basic parameters. So you have to focus on them. And why they are asking what they really need or what they really want. What is the motive behind all these things? So we have to check all these things and then only we can get the real satisfaction or real answers to our questions. Thank you.
Actually, I had told in the beginning of the my discussion itself that in the physical world, whether it is a computer simulated by advanced civilizations like aliens, that is not possible to prove it, but I can find answers asking others, asking the right experts, going through research reports, etc. But the other side, whether our inner world, the psychological realm is another simulation by the mind. For that, I already told these questions have come. I am not asking answers from anybody. Because that is not going to serve any purpose. I am not asking the questions from my intellect. Because intellect cannot answer it. It is beyond the capacity of the intellect. Intellect, they thought they know only the things they already happened, the past only. When they just to finally gave it up that it is beyond their capacity, they keep quiet. There is silence. In the silence, answer may come up itself. This was already discussed, and not for satisfaction, etc. Because who is satisfied? That is a ego game. I am not involved in that ego game to satisfy you. Who will be going by finding the answers? This is not an intellectual discussion. Okay.
Can I say something?
There is no question of satisfying somebody's ego. This is not that. Dinesh, I already explained it in the beginning. These answers, I cannot use my intellect, I cannot use my thought to find the answers because they cannot. It is beyond their capacity. So when they have already given it up. So when they become silent, the answers may come. So let us give chances to others. Ravi Kaushal, Lakshmi, my other people are there.
No, but I want to comment on this.
No, we will be
There is no
arguing.
such-
Dinesh, we will be just arguing with that.
No,
Let us give
no,
chances
just-
to Ravi Kaushal and others.
I don't want to argue, but just give a statement here that there is, in my views, there is no such difference between inner reality and outer actuality. Based on inner reality only, you can see the outer reality, outer actuality.
Dinesh,
And in science also, just
Dinesh,
listen.
I am telling
sir.
1 minute. Dinesh, I am telling the physical world, whether it is stimulated by a computer simulation, that is beyond my capacity to understand it. I am just, it is very difficult to prove it or disprove it. That I gave it up. But but other thing may be possible. Whether inner world, my psychological realm, it is also a simulation by the mind, by the thought. That is the question. I am not seeking answers from others because that's a futile. I am not using my intellect also to find answers for that. These are the questions that have come up, and my thought has surrendered to that. It raised its hands off. That's all. So in the silence, answers may come or may not. I don't know. Thank you.
Lakshmi ji.
Fortunately, my project was of
Lakshmi ji,
simulation.
Lakshmi ji has raised her hand.
Okay.
Lakshmi ji, please continue.
Namaste to everybody.
Yes.
I feel we are now, the inner charting is only done by the mind, and the perception of the world is also by the mind only. So we are all in the mind range, and reality is beyond the mind. So whatever we are talking, inner or outer perception, you are the world, Krishnamurti ji says. So whatever outside we are perceiving, that's inside. So inner charting, outer perception, any reaction, everything is of the mind only. And this mind plays gigantic and multiple games. So if we are not concerned with this, and then if we go beyond it only, we perceive the reality. Thank you.
Anybody else would like to?
No, I agree with Lakshmi ji that there are so many probabilities when scientists work. Fortunately, I was also having a project on simulation only in my engineering studies. So there was clearly told to us that there are so many probabilities in the world. Say we see the new inventions, there are so many probabilities, and the thought gives so many probabilities, and out of that, one clicks. So the one which clicks, we call it a new invention or this thing. So that also we have to see that in this game there are so many realities possible. Reality manifestation is possible. Thank you.
Ravi Kaushal.
Yes, sir. Hello. Am I audible, sir?
Yes, you are
Yeah.
audible.
Yeah, you can speak, Ravi.
Yes, sir. So, sir, Rajendran sir raised many questions. Most of them are quite intellectual, but has some sense. And in that context, Harshad Parekh's one beautiful statement is like, there is nothing to understand, which is actually beautifully stated by sir. And but then what we are doing here? If there is nothing to understand what we are doing here, and sir, you always talk, about this choiceless awareness and all that, as if it is already concluded by the mind. So to me, it's like the mind is saying still from that accumulation. So that is one thing. You have already concluded, and then you call it awareness, you call it choiceless awareness, and then these are things when the talk is from the conclusion. I think it's a closed thing. It's not open. I think it's for not naked. So that and then Sir Prasad sir said this self knowledge is not just accumulation, but constant learning. And the self, it's a self that has created the self thought. It's the thought which has created this thought. So this is the one deception that avatar, what we are individually in ourselves, all are avatars, and the avatar is created by the thought. And that thought has created that. And to see that is one thing, and to talk about that is another thing. And there is one peculiar problem with that. The thought. It's all that the thought is creating always the thought, and this is that's the only tool we have. It solves many of our problems, but not psychologicals. Not much psychologicals. But still, I see that this exploration is one thing. If the mind is open and it explore the thing with its whole being, then it may see one thing very beautifully. And though we understand that the tool is inefficient, we always talk about that. But is it so? Do we see that, or it is an idea for us? Is another question, I think. And this is again, when we talk about then if one see the thought limited, then the one is step out. But then the question is that you see how the thought is deceptive here. You see, you see that how who is the one who is stepped out? Who is the one? The thought is creating another self. This is the game of the self. It is a deception. This is how we think. We think that we have come to that level of choiceless awareness and all that bullshit. So this is, I think, is not it's not an open thing. The mind is still in concluding terms, and it's still the deception of the thought. And why one Dinesh Waghmare has raised right question, like why we are always questioning. That is another problem, another deception thought create. You see, we create unnecessary questions just for the continuity of this thinker. And to see that is one thing, actually.
Ravi,
Yes, sir.
the time is very short.
Bas, that's all I'm saying, that like the Rajendran sir raised question, simulation, physical simulation, and then the psychological simulation, and then the answers, and then Rajendran sir is saying that it is all intellectual. Then the answer is not in silence. One will see the answer. One will see the answer is always the continuity of the thought. You have to see that. It's still in that deception. It's still the movement of that deception. So it's not that we are saying that the thought is inefficient, and we actually mean by that. That is one thing. Thank you, sir. Thanks a lot.
Harshad sir.
Yeah, just I would like to just 1 minute, that the science cannot solve the human deeper problem, psychological problem. Scientists, they are exploring the world which is outside. Even the brain is matter. So only way, if we want to really be free from many problems like fear, anger, jealousy, loneliness. That can be done only when we are able to see thoughts which are creating all these problems. And to see it requires awareness. And as long as awareness or intelligence is not awakened, problems will remain. And science, instead of solving problems, is creating more problems, I feel. And so it is, as long as we don't understand our mind clearly, there is no future, I think. Okay, I finish.
Rajendran says, thanks
Yes,
for
sir. Thank you.
your
Thank you. Thank you.
presentation and all that.
Thank
for
you.
your
Thank you
presentation
everyone
and all,
for your
all your inner talk and sharing with us.
okay. Thank you. Thank you all for sparing your valuable time with me today. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Sushil
Thanks all the participants.
Harshad Parekh and all the participants.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you.